the biggest thing is having that staff network, because we would not be who we are today. Obviously the protocols and systems are in place for a reason. We're a legal business, we're not burger flippers, we've got legislations and regulations in place for a reason. It's contract law, you can't skip a beat. They have to be focused in a point, and we're very lucky that we've got very dedicated staff that treat our business as if it's theirs.
What happened in those early days to shape the leaders that you've become, like in the infancy of the business? What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned?
Trial and error. Just getting the processes in place was the biggest thing. Solicitors will talk legal jargon and things like that. You've got to break it all down for clients. It's a huge process, buying and selling a house, something that you kind of have to hold their hand through the process. We want to make the process so easy that they didn't stress throughout the whole process. We take on the stress.
Welcome back to episode 12 of Your Wealth Playbook. We have some exciting guests on, the ladies from Ezystep Conveyancing. Thank you both for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Renee and Jamie, you've got an interesting story, running cracking business, but there's also some key insights around having a team, conveyancing team, in your corner when you're looking to build wealth through property.
Definitely. We've got a great network of team, and I think they're the backbone of our business, and if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be as successful as we are today.
Now let's take it all the way back to the start. Let's tell us a bit about your childhood and what molded you to become the business people that you are today. Were there any early signs that you'd want to go into business together, or?
Yeah, basically we come from a family who didn't have a lot of money. They worked, mum I think worked 2 or 3 jobs, dad obviously in the trade business, and then he had an accident and become a quadriplegic when we were 11. And it was a bike accident which I was involved in. So our life became very difficult, changed a lot. So we had a lot of struggles, and we've seen our parents struggle still, obviously. And we decided
I think that gave us a drive to say, we don't want to be like this, we want to be successful. And we don't ever want to struggle like mum and dad have. So
and to obviously help them. We wanted to kind of help support them as well as our own family. So I think that gave us a lot of drive from our kind of childhood to be successful where we are today. Our parents were both very hardworking, so we've come from a background where you don't give up, no matter what kind of challenges were thrown at you, you just keep going. And I think that's what we tell to our kids is if you never give up is basically our slogan. So I think that was where it came from is we always wanted to kind of be successful. We're twins, so it's a bond that you can't really break. And we both kind of went our different ways when we left school. Renee went into hospitality. I went into law, and I loved law. So I kind of had a passion where I love working in the industry. I've seen a lot of kind of different challenges, but I love property law. So I kind of went into that field, and that's where it basically started.
Wow, that's very, very inspirational. I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you for sharing that.
Bike accident.
Yeah, so it was a push bike. So basically I was on the push bike with him, doubling down the road, and
I was in front.
I was on the boy bit of the bike, and my foot got caught in the spoke. We flipped, and freak accident, become a paraplegic. So that's something that I still blame myself today. It's like it's always eats at you because you can't fix him, and he was very athletic. We're still very close, but you just feel that guilt, and I guess that's what happened.
Dad's a very strong, independent person, so he's come from being in an electric chair to a push chair, and if it takes him 5 hours to make dinner, he will make dinner for 5 hours, and so he's very independent. And I don't know I take my hat off to my mum because she's full-time caring now for Dad. But they're a great team. And so if we can be as half a team as they are, then we're going to do okay.
Where you got that drive from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing backstory, and I've got no doubt the challenges that family's gone through, but it's shaped you both.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely has. Yes.
Yep. And we raised a little brother, so he was just about to turn 1 when Dad had his accident. So I think we had to grow up extremely quickly, so he is now assisting Mum with Dad, and he's older, obviously 30 now. So raising him and making sure we were guiding him when he was younger, that was a big thing as well.
Little brother, amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got 2 older girls and then a little boy as well, so very sort of similar. The values that you've gotten, I believe that, were you guys born in Muswellbrook?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Come from Muswellbrook.
Yes.
Yep.
Another one for the valley. Yes, because I grew up in Singleton, so
Yes.
I know that you weren't there long, but you then moved to the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
Yes.
we were 2, parents located down here to help our nan out,
And Dad got a job.
and Dad, relocated for work. So, been coasties since we were 2. Yeah.
Lovely. And operating Ezystep Conveyancing now
Yes. Yeah.
together, but 2 separate locations.
Yeah, so one in Toukley, which started about 12 years ago.
Yep.
And then we opened another one in Belmont, which Renee runs about 7, 8 years ago. Yeah. So it's both going very strong, both, got good kind of outcomes, and, very proud of where we've come.
Amazing team of ladies. I was having a little...
Ladies, yeah.
Not intentional, but no male supplier. Maybe intimidated by too many females.
I was actually having a sticky beak at your website, and I love the website. Brilliant.
Thank you.
There's I'm not sure if it is just a stock photo or there's a little child on there as well as one of the... I'm not sure if that
No,
is.
that's not. That's just a stock photo. Talia is the brains behind the, which is our marketing business kind of development manager. So she's done the whole website. We'd probably be lost without her, but she did all of that. So
Yep. It's very much like Jared and I would be lost without Danielle. There's a lot of things that we do on this podcast, so yes, we understand. But amazing running a team full of ladies. No males have applied. Maybe it might be a kick that if their male does want to get into conveyancing, there's a couple of...
look, they
That is
might
a
be able
position.
to. I don't know how they'll fit in though with the 10 girls. Yeah.
Sisters going into business together, Ezystep. Was that always the goal, the dream, or it just sort of happened that way?
No.
I guess it just happened. Jamie started the business from home, so she started working from her bedroom and obviously got too big and then opened her business. And
About a year
Jamie's
later.
not very good at prospecting or marketing, or she's very good at conveyancing and law, but give her to talk to people or to go out and smooze and introduce herself. That's not Jamie. So she asked me to help on the back end while I was still working in travel, and I just had a baby when she was first opening up, and and she just said, would you want to give it a go, do your law degree and work
See if you
alongside,
like it.
see if you like it. And I'm like, absolutely not. I do not want to read too many contracts. I don't like reading books, and I'm a very people person. Customer service is a really big thing of mine, and I think I'll get bored, but I'll give it a go for 6 months. And so started I think in 2014, and been with her ever since. So just helped her flourish. I said, if I come on board, we're going to open a second business. I'm going to run it. So that's how it happened.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone loves the contract, someone loves
I like
growing up the
mingling,
business.
getting out. Yeah. So that's my forte.
Yeah, Renee does HR. I'll do whatever I'm supposed to be doing.
Such.
Yeah.
It's a huge level of trust when you've already carved out a career in something that you like, going to something completely
Different.
left field.
Yeah.
What gave you the confidence that it was going to succeed?
I guess the support with Jamie-Lee with helping me kind of understand contract law and property law, and she really took me under the wing. And then once I kind of got the gist of what we needed to do, it was her guidance that really put me through. But obviously the support of my family with a newborn baby and then having another one and, running a second office, and I deal with all of the HR and the marketing and everything like that. So it was busy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. We work 16 hours, 18 hours a day. We'll log on at 6, log back off at 12 or 2 or whatever we need to do, and just keep going. So I think that's just instilled with us, is just keep going. And I think I thrive off that. If I didn't, I'd get bored and I would do another thing. So that's why I think we keep ourselves busy.
Build not a lifestyle business, but you mentioned young children.
Yep.
Coming on board, having a newborn, another one coming along the way as well.
Yep.
Having the flexibility of running a business, we see it time and time again with lots of businesses, that's important.
Yes.
To make sure that you've got that, I won't call it balance, but you've got the ability, because we all work hard, business owners, and not...
No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked. Yes, but having that flexibility so that you can be present with children, I think I'm hearing from you both is, especially from you, Renee, is big.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah. I wish I was a little bit more present than I am. This is an extremely demanding role, as well as Jamie. Jamie's got teenage kids, so she's going through a totally different thing. So driving and like teaching them to drive and, partying, and when are they going to be home, and where I've got 7 and 10-year-olds. So it's a lot of sports and needing mum with homework and all of that stuff. So it's definitely a mix, but we've got a great family network that helps us on the back end to be able to do that. Yeah.
That's important. We can't live without our mums.
Yeah, that's right.
My mum's still helping out. I've got a 6, 4 and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
We've got a little granny flat, and mum lives with us. So
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mum dropped the girls to school this morning, and
Yeah.
mum picked them up yesterday afternoon,
Yeah.
or granny as they call her.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Takes a village, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does, because when I started my law degree, I was only 22, and I just found out that I was pregnant, and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to wreck my life here, but I've got to do something to, change it. So I studied law while I was pregnant with my first, which is Byron. He's nearly 17 in June. So basically I did my law degree while I was pregnant, had babies, and then when they were about 5, then I started to create my own business. And Renee was probably one of the ones who also helped me push myself. You can do it on your own, and create my own business. And then when I was established, then that's when she come on. But without the support of both of us, I think we become like a team. Without each other, I don't think we could do what we are doing.
Yeah, I think we definitely pick each other. Very honest, very raw. If she's having a bad day or she doesn't want, I'm like, get up, get your shit together, let's go. And and I think she's the same. So it's a pick up, let's go. Yeah.
There's also very much a common theme of you don't do one thing at a time. There's
no.
Let's start a law degree when we find out we're pregnant, and we'll start a business, and we'll change careers at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. What happened in those early days to shape the leaders that you've become? Like in the infancy of the business, what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned in those first few years that have now carved out the successful business that you run?
I guess
Trial and error. I mean, it's just getting the processes in place was the biggest thing, because where I come from, you had precedents when you worked at the law degree, or like the office, and they had their own kind of ways where you're like, I know I can do this better, and communication is the biggest thing. Where Renee come from, she does a lot of communication, and there was a breakdown of that in kind of solicitors will talk legal jargon and things like that. You've got to break it all down for clients, and kind of, it's a huge process buying and selling a house, or investments and things like that. It's something that you kind of have to hold their hand through the process, and that's why we become I guess Ezystep Conveyancing is, we want to make the process so easy that they didn't stress throughout the whole process. We take on the stress, which we do.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is having that staff network, because we would not be who we are today. So obviously the protocols and systems are in place for a reason. We're a legal business. I think we repeat that to our staff multiple times, is we're not burger flippers, where we've got legislations and regulations in place for a reason. It's contract law, and that you can't skip a beat, and they have to be focused and on point. And we're very lucky that we've got very dedicated staff that treat our business as if it's theirs. So I think without that and the systems, but it's also about that communication is the key. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that we hold their hand from start to finish, and we don't miss that communication. So whether it's a text, a phone call, an email, we make sure that we touch base with our clients to make sure that they're understanding those next steps. And we instill that across the team. So whether they start with the receptionist, the admin, the clerk, and us as the conveyancers, they're always in some sort of contact and an update. So that's a big thing that helps us with the success, because we've seen a miss in that market when we purchased our property. So
I think the breakdown of communication, when we brought our first home, we were 21 and we brought it together. So we basically found that there was no communication. We didn't know, I didn't understand the whole process, what she was obviously saying when we were explaining the contract, about the council requirements. We brought something that had a legal works. It flooded in the end because it was not done properly. And so it was just a communication breakdown. I also had a little stint in real estate. So I came from a real estate background as well as the law background, and I had a little bit of knowledge of both, of where it kind of broke down. So I guess solicitors don't like to talk where I came from to real estate agents, but they're one of the biggest, they're who's selling the house. So you need to communicate to them. Brokers, the whole process is holding each other's hand throughout the whole process, not only the clients, but it's your real estate agents, your brokers, your bankers, throughout the whole process. It's everyone working together. So I think that's why, it's a team effort. And I think that's why we created those protocols to get there. Yeah.
It sounds like Ezystep Conveyancing was born through some challenges that you both faced. And the poor communication.
Yeah.
And you went, there's probably a little bit of a gap here. It shouldn't be done so like this, so hard. Started Ezystep.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I think that, the biggest thing for us was there was such a miss or a gap in the market. And that process for us was, as first home buyers, was extremely hard. And we were like, it shouldn't be this hard. So the concept of Ezystep is to make sure that they have something about what steps are in place every step of the way, and that they have someone there to support them to make sure that, this is their biggest asset that they'll probably ever purchase. So do it right the first time, because it's expensive if you don't.
Yes, it is expensive if you don't do it right the first time. Conveyancing, you guys deal, well, not guys, sorry, you ladies deal in property law, all transactions property-wise. A conveyancer, tell me a little bit around the job, around what a conveyancer does.
Basically, the legal process in regards to, it could be buying their first home, transferring an asset if a relationship breakdown, selling the probate home, that obviously the family home that's kind of done. You're dealing with like every different process. It also has commercial leases, retirement village. There's a whole broad of things that we do in regards to property law, but basically, it's the legal to transfer the title into another person's name, basically. But there's a whole process of making sure that there's no property debt, that all council rates, land rates,
Property searches.
everything's done correctly, that they know what they're buying. If they're buying a block of land, that you obviously need to make sure you can build on it. It has a dwelling entitlement. So there's just lots of processes that you need to make sure that the client is aware that you can't just buy that lot. And
if there's a major easement at the back and they're putting a granny flat there, it's not going to happen. So just making sure that they're aware of the restrictions, the use, the covenants, and special conditions and things to be aware of as far as buying a property, breaching a contract, what that means financially. We're not buying, and I often say to agents, we're not buying a t-shirt, we're buying a property, and there's due diligence in place. So we need to educate our client. I'm happy to give you a 66, which is regularly asking for at the moment, but we need to make sure our client's happy to proceed and understands the process. So it's all aspects, and just making sure that the legal side of the property transaction we've covered and the client understands.
Sounds like there might be a couple of stories in behind that. Is there one common mistake or misconception that there is that you can sort of help out as from a conveyancing point of view that you see?
I guess just educating.
It's mainly finance. It would be the biggest issue with a client going into a binding contract without that formal loan approval or that confirmation that they're right to purchase his property. Many clients have, at the moment, there's a few where you're buying a property, but you have to sell. What happens if that property doesn't sell? Then we're stuck in a contract that I can't get you out of, and you don't have the backup plan or bridging finance because you haven't had that conversation. So I guess the biggest thing before committing to a contract would be making sure that you can buy it, because you can't get out of that. You're going to lose your 10% and you possibly could get litigated for legal fees. And if they can't sell that property for the same amount, you're going to be paying those costs. So yeah, it's just making sure that you're really confident before committing to a contract. So yeah.
We had a client the other day that went to auction, didn't speak to a broker, didn't have finance, had to sell their home, thought they'd negotiated with the agent a 12-week or 16-week contract, signed under a 42, and successful at auction. So they actually don't know.
Of course they were successful.
So I actually don't know how that's going to go, because the agent said, do you have a conveyancer? And they didn't even have one. Agent put our details on it and said, here we go. So lots of fun.
Thanks for that.
Was the question, what's a conveyancer at the end of that? Wow.
Yeah.
It's totally different though if you're looking to go and buy a home, if you are buying it at auction.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that.
No.
That if you do buy an auction,
It's binding.
it's binding. There is no terms. You don't get to negotiate. There is no. It's whatever is there. As soon as that crack at the last sold,
That's right.
you've got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Termites and all.
Yes, and it could be.
It could. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And if you haven't done your due diligence beforehand, or if you don't have a cracking conveyancer or broker
Yeah, that's right.
on your team to start with,
Yeah.
you force yourself into a very sticky situation that you may not be able to get yourself out of.
And then that becomes our stress and okay, sleepless nights. How are we going to do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
when those 2
sometimes
a.m. emails fly
Yeah.
around, is it?
Help. Just tell me the difference between, I know that for everybody else, when you do buy at auction, what is the process and how is that different from just organising with a real estate and you've...
Private treaty.
Yeah, they've accepted an offer.
Yeah. I guess with private treaty, you do have the opportunity to enter under a cool-off period, negotiate the terms of the contract. So, changes and amendments to the contract, which we will do on their behalf. Be able to have that contract review so that we can explain the contract terms and their commitments and the property searches, inquiries, and everything else that we're able to do, boundary searches, etc. pest and building, and obviously finance, to make sure that they're 100% committed, understand the process, and then happy to pay that deposit. If they want to rescind and there's issues with pest and building or decline finance status, the only thing that they would risk with a private treaty or a cool-off period is the 0.25%. So it's a much better way for people to be able to enter in without being gazumped by another buyer, so another purchase coming in over the top. Whereas auction, it's in binding, everything's satisfied. You need to make sure that you've had those contract reviews, changes and amendments, happy with
You
the
need to be
settlement
prepared.
period. Yeah, so it's binding contracts in force, and it's yours. Sold signs up. We're on foot for settlement. Beg, borrow, steal. I don't care what we need to do. We're settling. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. So that's what we would normally educate.
Beg, borrow, and steal.
Yeah.
Because you are
Do you
locked
have
into this contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're buying at auction, definitely being prepared is how you're going to be able to move forward quickly. You can negotiate a reduced deposit on the day of settlement. You can negotiate your terms. If you don't do that, obviously you're bound by that contract because it's done.
We've spoken about due diligence as well. And I know that you guys will go through easements, termites, building and pest, finance. Do you also look at the zoning of that particular property? If your client has aspirations to go and develop that property, or if they want to operate a business from that property, is that something that you will have a look at?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that's part of our
We
contract.
generally will tell them what's in we'll go through the zoning certificate. So it's called a 10.72 and 5 certificate, but it basically will run down the zoning of the property, what you can and can't do. If it's in a flood mapped area, bushfire, acid sulfate, anything that could possibly affect the development. But the main thing is we can guide them, but they may need, it's best to speak to a town planner because you could be wanting to build an 8 units on this one lot. You may not be able to do that because of the street frontage, or there could be something else in regards to councils, building height restrictions, etc. So we can guide them, but definitely and give them points as to what, yes, you can do this under this zoning, but you would need to probably speak to a town planner before committing that big the money down in case there's issues.
So with R2, RU2 zoning, so the rural zonings, educating the client that if it doesn't meet a certain allotment, we had a client that had to amalgamate two properties, so two lots to be able to do a dwelling entitlement. So having us being able to educate what they can and can't do, because they'll just say, oh yeah, I'm going to build that land. No, you've got to buy two of them to build that dwelling. And that was an option from a rural property, but making sure that they're educated about what they can and can't do. Most zonings around here is an R2 low density, so educating what maximum build height, if they can subdivide, and that's all something that we can certainly advise, and anything beyond kind of that's something that they would need to do further town planner meetings and stuff like that.
What it sounds like is you're a GP in the process. You know you know everything, but for specialist advice on how many you can get here or what you need to do here, you then refer off
that's
to relevant specialists. But you need to know everything about that property and what you can and can't do through living there now, developing it.
If it's in a flood zone, making sure that there's a minimal floor height that they need to be understand, and if they're building a secondary dwelling, what minimal flood height. We're lucky in Lake Macquarie that we can pull a flood data report which kind of gives that guideline, so we provide that to our client. If it's in a bushfire, understanding that there is a BAL rating, so which is a bushfire rating, and what building materials they build in that area. So we would kind of give them the guidance if it's a 12.5, kind of what the expenses, and just to understand that it's not standard building materials, and giving them the general guidelines, but anything, when they are wanting to do like a vacant land and build, we would recommend getting a tender and speaking to a builder and making sure that they're getting those costs, because if they're thinking that it's a 400 and then a 40 BAL rating, they're going to be paying about $60,000 more with build costs because of the BAL rating. So just educating them initially and then sending them for further advice.
very costly if you make mistakes
Yeah.
in this game
That's right.
Cut corners.
or
Yes.
cut corners.
Yeah.
I've got no idea how you guys keep up with so much legislation between different towns, or as they call them, local government areas, because
Yeah.
you operate out of two different offices. I wouldn't imagine that that'd all be the same.
No. It's New South Wales wide, so we could be acting for someone in Tamworth or Armidale or wherever, but you pretty much just, the zoning will give you a lot of information. We always pull down a planning report from the New South Wales portal. It'll give you lots of information to guide them, basically, is what our job
But
is.
also, we've now got, we work for the ATO. We work for the ATO. we work for the Office of State Revenue. There is so many extra steps that we now have to do. Foreign resident capital gains. That's now on every single sale contract. So we've now got to order more certificates. Our job is becoming extremely more demanding and heavily legislated, but we don't get paid more.
No.
And we're expected to do a lot, and we're the first ones to be audited and claims on if there is a problem. So, that is huge in our business, and I think that's what we're addressing with the AIC is we need help if you want us to do all of, lodge ATOs, pay GST, pay foreign land tax clearance certificates, and everything else that you want us to do for you as a job. We need to be educated and we need help. So I guess that's the biggest fight that the AIC and us as legal representatives are trying to ask for guidance
With the
and
government.
help.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be all on the licensed conveyancers and solicitors that are transacting to make sure we're doing the right thing. Otherwise, we could be up for a lot of money and claims.
How do you balance the changing legislation and market shifts along with managing people and HR within work? What does that look like on the average week to balance that all up?
I guess we have the systems and protocols in place, and we've got them for a reason.
We normally, if something's coming during the week, we have Monday
Oh,
morning
Monday,
meetings,
yeah.
which we address. We then have training probably every quarter. We try to update regulations. If something's come in, which recently has in regards to money laundering. So we now have to educate our staff on that, which starts in July. So it's just the AIC are very good in regards to sending out weekly notifications, industry updates, as well as, revenue and ATO always have things on their websites that we actually have to keep educating ourselves. There's
Online
webinars
seminars.
and things like that. So it's hard to juggle doing your daily job, but also keeping up with
legislation.
Yeah.
Because there's
Doing
only
your
so many
job
hours
properly.
in a day that the team's there and
Yeah.
I don't
there's
think
people that are calling.
the clients understand how much on the back end actually has to be done. So those systems, once that contracts and says leave it up to us and we'll see you at settlement, the amount of steps that our staff and ourselves have to go to move that from exchange through to settlement is huge. Qualifying the clients of making sure that their identity check, because there's no original titles anymore, that's huge, because if we're acting for someone we can't legally confirm that they're the legal owner, then
It's
they're
on
going to
us.
come back to us and say why and how, and that's not the right person. Whoops.
It's just a simple property transaction though, ladies.
Yeah.
How come there's so much work involved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the silly ones that make it a fixed fee, but but we have that concept because
Budget,
know,
families,
it's
you
a
just
blue
want to
collar
make everything
industry.
easy so they know what they're up for from start to finish, and it's a part of the easy process. So
Amazing. You ladies are both managing directors of the business, but also mums. How do you juggle that?
I think with my little ones, they're still really needing me, and I think we've got a sport on every single afternoon. So, getting them organised and being a day in advance is where I'm up to. So I always make sure dinner, bed, jammies and everything are packed for whoever's got my kids picking up in the afternoon. If I'm, because majority of the time I'm not going to be there, they're already dinner, bath, and ready for me to do homework when I get home, so I'm not fighting that thing. So having that network, I guess, on the back end is extremely important for me, because that just helps us keep organised. But I do need to stay organised to keep organised.
Preparation.
Yeah,
Is
it's the
key.
key. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you guys personally, though, deal with all of that? Is there certain things that you guys do to take time out for yourselves?
No, I think Jared messaged me the other day when I emailed you, I think late at night, and he goes, how do you feel your cup up, or have you filled your cup up, or something like that? And I'm like, no, I must do that this weekend. I've never got around to it.
It's on the to-do list.
Yeah, it's on the to-do
Look,
list.
we are trying to have a work-life balance. I've had the conversation with Renee that some days we feel like we're going absolutely mental, and we do need to kind of take that time for self-care and things like that. So on the weekend, I did just pop over to Renee's house and said, let's go for a walk. I need to sort my head out.
That was an adventure.
Yeah.
The Lake Memora, she didn't realise that the bottom of the lake had flooded. So instead, we couldn't walk on the path, so we hiked up this rock and bush, and we came out the other end, and I'm like, I hope I don't have a tick on me. And I was in whites, and it was just, it was an adventure, but it was to get me out of the house, and I think we both need it. We laughed the whole way, but I think we need to do that a bit more often, is getting out and doing a bit more exercise, and so there we go. But
Being sisters, can you identify when one's struggling and one needs help? And
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Renee's always giving me a call. She just knows when I'm having a day, and she'll always, it's tough love, I guess.
I'm known as the sergeant at work, but also outside.
Get yourself out. What are you doing?
Is,
Pick yourself back up. Because some days you just feel like, I can't get out of bed today. I am struggling, but today, it's just having the network around you, and the girls at work are like our family. It's just making sure that we all kind of tell each other, you need a break and you need to kind of go and read a book, or which I love reading. So I do have a little bit of time on the weekends that I just sit for about an hour and read a book. But Renee doesn't. Renee doesn't do that, because she's obviously got the younger kids who need her a lot more than my kids do. But it's just and I do tell Renee often to have a little bit more time for herself and to be more present, because you do kind of get so stuck in your work that you're forgetting about everything else, and you're like, I've just got to get this done, I've got to get this done, and then you forgot about what you actually need to do for your own self. So it is hard.
We do, especially as business owners, and Renee, I've got young children as well, and sometimes I can get a little bit snappy. And it was only this morning when Emily, my wife, because we like to have and give each other a little bit of time out, so she went and did Pilates. So I was up this morning with the kids and getting them ready, and I think I told Hazley, my middle child, 3 times where her school clothes were that we'd gotten out the night before. And then she's like, Dad, where's my pants? And I was like, the same place, honey, that you just picked your shirt up from. She's like, Dad, where's my socks? And I was like, the same place that you just picked your shirts and your shorts up from. And she's like, oh, okay, thanks, Dad. And then when Emily had gotten home, I was like, I just need 5 minutes here because I've got a big day at work. I've got ladies coming in, but I just need to reset myself.
Yeah.
So as business owners, we don't have this magical shield up that we can just defend and we're always on. Sometimes that we do need to look after ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Filling our cups up.
Yeah,
I think with our job, it's so demanding when we get in. So the phones will start at 8 o'clock and they won't go. They'll keep going until 6 o'clock, and it's just you're being pulled from left, right, and centre, and it's full on, because one client might need something that will take 2 hours but needs it done in half an hour, and so educating that client to say you are my priority, although we've got 5,000 people behind you, we still want to make sure that client feels like they're our number one priority. And
but you forget to have lunch and you forget to do everything else. But it's very hard. But the main thing is just making sure that our staff understand that they also need to take a break and step away from the desk when it's just getting too much. And
That balance is incredibly hard because, like you said, it's
It
the most
is.
important thing that person's ever going to do, and
Yeah.
you're committed to making it as stress free as possible and
That's right.
prioritizing it when
Yeah.
there's 100 priorities that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The staff are like our backbone, but they are a drop and roll. They adopt kind of like if we're in the trenches, they're all in the trenches. Like they follow kind of suit. So if someone says jump, they'll say how high. So we're extremely grateful for the girls that we have. The hard work and dedication, customer service. Like every time I hear my receptionist, she'll come in and say, I think she thinks she's working at a restaurant sometimes. Sit down, have sparkling water, would you like chilled water? And she's like so accommodating. I'll get your forms ready and this is it. But just making sure that everyone feels welcome, even if she's having the shittest day on the back end, she never lets anyone know that she's having a really bad day. She's always there, but also the back end, the clerks, they're all extremely, how did you go with the final inspection? Just making it extremely personal, and making sure that is a process that they're feeling comfortable, they're at ease. We've built that rapport from the start of the conversation. I hear a lot of the girls and I'll always go, oh my God, you were so that's amazing. And if I could just be half as like what you just did on that phone, I couldn't thank them enough. So it's just what they do on the back end. I think Jamie's Tukley team is the same, that they just go beyond whatever we think that they could achieve. They exceed every day. So I think that's why we're so successful, is because of them.
You've built an amazing culture around it.
I was going to touch on that.
Yeah.
Amazing team. How do you build that culture in business?
I think we buy them coffee.
Coffees every day.
Coffee orders, yes, here
Bribery.
you go. Bribery.
No, I think we always make sure that they feel appreciated, and every month I'll get like a Myer or a Target or like a gift voucher to go and buy them something special, or we'll do like quarterly or financial like end of year
Team
things,
building. So we're going to make some pasta and some orange cakes in Newcastle. There's like a cooking class, or we take them to Picasso and wine sipping. Just team building things, just to make sure that we're all kind of know that we can like rely on everyone, but also appreciate and that we care for them as well. So it is just also I think having us to be to come up and approachable. I think that helps, so that they don't feel like they can't actually come to us when they are struggling.
I'm a a sergeant, and I'm like here to get things done, but I'm also a teddy bear. Like I'll give my shirt off my back if I need to, and my staff are aware of that. They know when it's game on, we're on, or if we are having a bit of fun or whatever, if they need a shoulder to cry on, they know that we're always there. So there's no opinions. We're here to support, and I think our staff are grateful for that. So that if they ever feel that they need to talk, I think that they know that they can, and feeling like that they're part of a team and a part of a family. It's not a team to us; it is a family, and we have like a Facebook thing that's Ezystep family, and we do have a great network that even they go out, outside of work, and they're very good friends, I think, individually as well. So that's good. Yeah.
Very giving, but you're also very giving to communities as well. You do a lot to support local charities, and you do that very consistently.
Yeah.
Where does that want to give back come from?
I think because
There's
lots of people struggling, and we've been through struggles. We've seen a lot of people struggle through health issues, financial issues. Mental health is a big one as well. And you just see families, people committing suicide, and then you see the breakdown of the back end of the families breaking after that. Like, it's just something that if we can give just even a little, it just makes a little difference, is why we
even sporting events, just to keep that endorphins and making sure that, I think team and sporting is a great thing for mental health. So if we support them and they don't have to go to the expense of, the team singlets or whatever, another person can run around and have some fun. So yeah, I think just keeping that community involvement and making sure that the community can lean on us if they need to, because without our community and the locals, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. So we'd like to give back a little bit, and we do when we can. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You are a part of the community, so you like to give back to the community.
Yeah, that's right.
Been through some hard
like a
times, so
circle.
if somebody can lean on you two or on the business,
Yeah.
it's a nice way to do it. I'm also a big believer in team sports.
Yeah.
Might have come from a little bit of a sport background, but team sports for me in mental health, it's and community is big.
Yeah.
Running a business, giving back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Right.
is.
Do you think that a part of that has also come from you both are mothers and a community feel and a family sort of feel? Do you think it also helps with the business and the community that you want to give back, being mothers as well?
Yeah, I think so. My two play rugby league, and they're both really good at it, if I don't say myself. But I sponsor the clubs where whatever club that they're in, I will be sponsoring, because I can see how much they love and enjoy the game.
Even sponsored me.
Yeah, I even sponsored Renee
so
when
I
she
played
was
touch
playing
footy,
touch.
and
Yeah.
So.
It's just just seeing people go out there, enjoy themselves. It brings families together. Sports, like everyone's like you go to a game and everyone's cheering on their child, and you just can see that it's just a day where you can go out, enjoy yourself. It's a part of a game, and then but it also
camaraderie and everyone. Yeah, I think it's a big thing for to encourage team sports, and we'll continue to do so as much as we can.
Touch football.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played since we were 14. Yeah.
We did play netball, but then we got kicked out of the comp.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, yeah. I did.
The team or individually?
No, the team.
Renee, I'm feeling like there's a little bit of an little story here.
We went straight into touch and
I retired from touch football probably 4 or 5 years ago because I had a knee injury. I tried to ride a skateboard down a ramp and that didn't go too well. But Renee still was playing, so and
we love the touch football.
You get out there and you just forget everything and you just enjoy yourself. Renee likes to yell a lot. Very competitive.
The competitive nature, I don't think it ever dies.
No. And I'll say, we'll calm down this game. And I was like, straight in there. Come on.
There's a nice feeling that you get, and I feel it when you cross the white line and you forget about everything else. You forget about all the pressures of work. You forget about all the pressures of family life.
Yeah.
And it's just people get the same sort of feeling. Being present, As when you're going surfing, there's nothing else that matters than when you're on the wave. There's nothing else that matters when I cross a football field. And I'm a very different person on the football field. Renee, I feel like you are very similar.
Yes,
I'm getting that vibe from you.
Yeah.
But just a nice...
What do you mean? Yeah, very competitive. But I think it's just in our nature just to want to go and give it a go. And if someone's not, I'm like, come on, let's go. Give it a go.
Lovely. What do you wish more women knew about business and leadership? Some of the life lessons that you both have learned?
I think it's more about not about the restrictions and, just because you're a woman, you need to be at home and you can't do this and
you can't have a career.
Can't have a career.
And be a mum. I think
that's the biggest thing is that people think that they can't run a business and be successful, but also be a great mum. And I think a lot of people think, working part-time or we work full-time, so and it works. So I know it's hard, but ask for help. Like if you really want to do something and you want to succeed,
I think it's about having the confidence, backing yourself. And I guess for women to lean on other women for guidance and support. If you have a goal, go for that goal. Like it's something that you only have one life. If you want to achieve and be a leader of something, you might as well do it now, because you never know when your time is up. And I think that's what I instill in my children as well, is that if you want to do something, you've got to work hard and you've got to set goals. So there could be 3-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals. But if you're achieving baby steps along the way, together with women, and I guess leaning on your support network, but having the confidence and backing yourself, because I guess if you don't push yourself, fear is going to bury you. And I think that's what I have learned, is that I think it took me 6 to 8 months to leave where I was and to take the big step to create a business on my own, because I thought I was going to fail. But if I didn't try, I was already failing because I let myself down. So I think that's why.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily always need to run a business, but be part of a network and have a purpose. So whether it's packing, boxes at Woolworths, and that's kind of what you're wanting to do. It doesn't matter what you're going to do, just give it a go. Yeah.
Certainly 2 amazing role models when it does come to being mums, professionals and business owners. So we certainly take our hats off to you guys.
Thank you.
Yes, I've got 2 young daughters, and it doesn't matter if you're, or your gender, if you're a male or a female. Sometimes females are just as feisty as the men. Not looking at you, Renee. But it's something that I want to instill into my girls, that you can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I tell them any day, whatever that it might be, there's nothing wrong with pack some boxes at Woolies,
that's right.
if that's what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to go and do. If you want to run a business, you can do that. You can also be a mum. Don't let it, but there's no stigma around that you're a female that you can't do that.
Yeah.
You absolutely can.
Yeah, that's
as long
right.
as you give it a go.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Look long and play short though.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
What's next for Ezystep? What's on the horizon? Any big grand plans, innovations?
I think at the moment we were looking at growing, but at the moment we're just trying to get it right. So making sure that we're focusing on how good we've got it right now, but giving like the stress and the business demand, just making sure that we're keeping up with that without spreading ourselves too thin. We think that the 2 offices, while we've got it really good, we're going to just make sure that we be better. And I think that's the biggest thing, is when we came into Belmont, we did see a huge gap, whereas Toukley and Central Coast have a lot of conveyancers. There's a lot of businesses there. There's a lot of competition. Get over the Swansea Bridge. It's all solicitors. They're old school solicitors, and there is a few new ones coming into the market. But when we opened 8 years ago, there was only two real competitors, and that business is now no longer here because we dominated that area. But we did it right, and we didn't go too hard, too fast, but we focused on what we were good at and how we could be better. So that's what
I think our goal would probably be in the next few years is just to, I guess, well-being for all ourselves, but also being more proactive in the community. That's probably where we want to be. I don't think we want to grow any bigger. I think we've got a great team and family, but I think we just want to be more present in the community and help give back. That's probably my goals for the next few years.
You're certainly doing that really well already, so I'm really excited to see what that looks like over the next couple of years.
Renee, Jamie-Lee, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We're going to finish off with a little fast 5 couple of questions that we've got for you both.
Yep, okay.
Coffee orders. First of all, do you drink coffee?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every morning.
Yes.
It's our fuel.
What's the go-to coffee order?
Oat lattes for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oat lattes.
Yep.
Very good.
What's one thing you disagree on but laugh about now?
I don't know. God.
Or maybe still disagree about?
I don't know. We did have a couple of good doozy fights when we were younger. She's smacked me over.
I think I think Renee doesn't like my that I'm a pushover.
Yes, that's a big thing.
That would be our biggest disagreement.
Yeah,
that we always have.
Actually, yeah, that would be the case. So I'm very dominant. I'm strong-willed. You'll know if I like you. It's black and white. There's no grey area. I'll say no if I don't want to do it. Whereas Jamie, she'll be a people pleaser and want to, do everything, spread herself too thin, say yes, no problem, yes, I'll do that. And then she leaves, instead of, making herself happy, she's made everyone else happy. So I think that's the biggest thing is.
That's probably what we find about most, yeah.
It's funny because I haven't picked up any of that about you, Renee.
Yeah.
Worst business advice you've ever gotten?
Oh, worst business advice.
They said don't open a office.
Don't work with family. Is what family and friends is what probably the worst business advice that I've got. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't have my family. So that was the worst business advice because I need my family, and Renee is probably my backbone. So yeah.
Lovely. If you weren't doing conveyancing right now, what would you be doing?
I'd probably still be a travel agent if I didn't have kids, because you can't be a travel agent and travel the world. That was probably it's very poor paying, but it's a great job that you can just go and explore the world and get paid to do it. So that was, if I was going to do that, I'll do that. But in retirement, so I'll do the river cruises and,
Yes.
all of the hikes and stuff. But no, I probably wouldn't do anything else now that we do what we do. I've done a lot of jobs, and I think this one is probably the most demanding, but also rewarding at the same time.
One daily habit that you go through each and every day?
I have my Welco in the morning.
Oh, God.
Because I'm like,
It's
get
a drink.
something really good into me so that it just keeps me going.
What was that?
It's
Welco?
A Welco. What's a Welco?
It's like
It's a
supplement.
It's Elle Macpherson created this one drink. It's got all the vitamins in it, and she drinks it daily. She thinks she's.
I'm going to look younger, so
Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely. I love
Yes.
The sales are going to go through the roof after hearing what you do in a day.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I get up, I have that, and then I'm set for the day. So if I didn't have that, it's just like, oh, my day,
Quick win.
Yeah. So that's
Perfect.
probably what I think.
Mine is at the end of the day is all I want to do is get home and put my jammies on, sit
Everyone
down.
does that.
No, that's what I want to do.
It's a ritual. That's what I'm
Yeah, it's a ritual.
I've worked hard.
All
I'll
right,
come home.
see ya, I'm going home. Get
Yeah.
my jammies on.
Lovely. Thank you again, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's been lots of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some amazing insights there, and really appreciate your time. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks.